At Mithila, the wedding fires had burned low, and the festivities drawn to their close. Sage Viswamitra, who long ago had led Rama and Lakshmana from Ayodhya to guard his forest sacrifice, now returned the two princes safely into their father's keeping. His mighty task was done, and King Dasaratha's grateful heart brimmed toward the sage who had tempered his sons like steel. Then Viswamitra took his leave of both kings, of Dasaratha and of Janaka, and turned his face toward the snowbound Himalayas to resume his austerities. He had been the very foundation of all that was to come. Yet, here he passed from the tale, seen no more in the long story of Rama that his blessing had set in motion. With the sage gone, King Dasaratha gathered his great retinue and set out for home. Chariots, elephants, and mounted guards stretched along the road, the newly wedded princess riding among them, and the brides borne in curtained palanquins. The old king's heart was light, for he was carrying his sons and their brides back to golden Ayodhya at last. As they journeyed, strange and troubling omens crossed their path. Birds cried harshly overhead, and the air grew heavy with foreboding. Uneasy, Dasaratha turned to his family priest and asked Vasishtha what such signs might mean, for the old king had learnt never to ignore the warnings that heaven scatters before great events. Calm as ever, Vasishtha bade the king take heart. The birds of the air, he said, did indeed foretell some approaching trial. But the beasts moving quietly upon the earth promised that all would end in happiness and good. Trouble might come, yet its ending would be sweet. Comforted a little, Dasaratha rode on. Scarcely had the sage spoken when the sky split with fury. A monstrous storm came roaring out of nowhere. Great trees were torn up by their roots. The ground heaved and shuddered, and clouds of dust rose to swallow the very sun. Darkness fell over the road at midday, and the whole company stood frozen with terror. Then, through the whirling dust, the cause of the tempest appeared. There stood Parasurama, dreaded destroyer of kings, a great bow slung on one shoulder and a battle axe upon the other, and in his hand an arrow that blazed like a bolt of lightning. Wherever this fierce sage walked, storm and earthquake ran before him like heralds. Terrible he was to look upon. His matted hair heaped high like a crown of fire, his face pouring out a flame-like light, so that he seemed Rudra himself rejoicing over the ruin of Tripura. This was the son of Jamadgani, who in his wrath had wiped whole generations of warrior kings from the earth. The Brahmans in the king's train murmured fearfully among themselves. Long ago, they recalled. This sage had sworn to destroy the Kshatriya race because a king had slain his father. They had prayed his thirst for vengeance was at last quenched. Was he now returning to his slaughter? Trembling, they still came forward and honored him with the customary offering of water. Taking the water, Parasurama fixed his burning gaze upon Rama. Son of Dasaratha, he said, word of your might has reached me. It surprised me to hear that you strung the bow in Janaka's coat and drew it until it snapped. Here is a bow to equal it. The very bow of Vishnu, entrusted long ago to my own father. If you can bend and string this bow, the fierce sage went on, you will have proved yourself fit to stand against me in battle. He hurled the challenge like a spear. Certain no mortal prince could match him. All around, the courtiers held their breath, for to fight Parasurama was thought to be to die. Fear seized old Dasaratha, and he stepped forward pleading. You are a Brahman, he cried, and we heard that. Your vengeance sated, you gave the conquered earth to Kashyapa and returned to holy penance. Is it right now to break that vow and harm a boy of tender years who has wronged you in nothing? A son dearer to us than our own life? But Parasurama did not so much as glance at the trembling king, as though Dasaratha were not there at all. He spoke only to Rama. Vishwakarma forged two matchless bows, he said. One he gave to Rudra, and one to Vishnu. The bow you broke in Mithila was Shiva's. This that I hold is Vishnu's own. String it if you can, he thundered, his voice loud and swollen with pride, and I shall grant you the honor of doing battle with me. The mountains seemed to echo his arrogance, yet Rama stood unshaken, gazing back at the fearsome sage with the quiet of a deep and untroubled sea. Rama answered gently, yet every word was firm as rock. Son of Jamadgani, you turned to vengeance because a king killed your father, and for that I do not blame you. But you shall not humble me as you have humbled the rest. Give me the bow. No anger touched his voice, only a serene and certain strength. So saying, Rama reached out and took the great bow and the shining arrow from Parasurama's hands. The divine weapon that had cowed 1,000 kings settled easily into his grasp, as though it had come home. The watching soldiers stared, scarcely daring to hope, as the young prince weighed the bow of Vishnu in his steady hands. In one smooth, effortless motion, Rama bent the mighty bow and slipped the string into its notch. Then he laid the arrow to the string and drew it back to his ear, the whole weapon singing with power. Smiling, he faced the sage. The impossible had been done as lightly as a child bends a reed. This is the arrow of Vishnu, Rama said with a smile. And once set to the string, it cannot be drawn back for nothing. It must find a mark. Tell me then, shall it destroy your power to move about the earth? Or shall it consume all the merit you have gathered through your long penance? As Rama held the bow of Vishnu bent and ready, the fierce light drained from Parasurama's face. The proud, world-conquering warrior was gone. In his place stood only a humbled, quiet rishi. The hidden purpose for which his avatar had walked the earth was finished, and he knew it in that silent, softening moment. Gently now, Parasurama spoke to the prince. I know at last who you truly are, and I am not sorry that you have broken my pride. Let all the fruit of my penance pass to you. The sworn destroyer of kings bowed his head before the youth of Ayodhya, his long wrath undone at last. Yet grant me one thing, he said. By my promise to Kashyapa, I may not linger in his lands and must reach the Mahindra mountains before the sun goes down. Spare only my power to travel there, and with that single mercy, let your arrow consume every last merit my austerities have won. Then, in reverence, Parasurama walked slowly round the prince, honoring him as one honors the divine, and departed toward his far mountains. With him went the last of the storm. The dust settled, the sun returned, and the road lay bright and quiet once more beneath a clearing sky. Word ran ahead to Ayodhya that the king and the royal princess were coming home. Joy swept the whole city. The people hung garlands from every gate and pillar, strewed the streets with flowers, and lit countless lamps, until the capital glittered so brightly it seemed a city of the gods brought down to earth. Through the flower-strewn gates the procession passed, and Dasaratha entered his capital in triumph with his 4 sons and their brides. The long anxiety of the road was forgotten. Drums rolled, conches blew, and the aged king rode home crowned with the love of his people, his heart at rest and full. In that happy city, Rama and Sita lived for 12 golden years. Rama had given his whole heart to Sita, and none could say whether their love was born of their virtue or of their beauty. So deeply were their spirits joined that their hearts spoke to each other without a word. Sita shone at his side like Lakshmi in heaven. Long after, when the forest years had come, Ansuya, the holy wife of sage Atri, praised aloud the depth of Sita's love, and Sita answered simply, "How could it be otherwise? Rama is a perfect being. His love for me is equal to mine for him, and it never wavers. Pure of heart, he has mastered every sense.